Alright, so we're from Judith's perspective now. Let's see what happens. I do my best to make sure Oliver is comfortable and begin fixing him some anti-nausea tea. This isn't the first time he's started a day vomiting. Back in June, it only took him a couple minutes before he was up and talking again. But he's been on that couch for 30 minutes now, as silent and scared as the day I met him. I learned early on not to just call people over when something bad happens, but he won't even write anything down in his journal. Maybe I'm being too patient here. Maybe this is different. No, he's got a rough enough day ahead of him already. The last thing he needs is loud noises and strangers on top of everything else. His vitals are fine. It was only a nightmare, I'm sure of it. Still, if this really was just another nightmare, then it has to be his worst one yet. Oh, Olive. I wish there was an easy solution here. I wish it was as simple as hugging you. Before, I would have given you anything to have 3 months alone with you. And yet, in the end, all I could make with that time was a summer of empty gestures and anemic remedies. I guess it's never really that simple, is it? But I'll keep trying, until I physically can't anymore. I'll keep trying. It's what Andy would do after all. What Andy would do. As if Andy is, like, dead or something. Anyway. I place Oliver's cup on the coffee table and sit what I think is a comfortable distance away from him on the couch. Drink it when you're ready. No pressure. It's ginger tea. It's supposed to help with nausea. It's not as sweet as ginger beer or a sweet tea, but it does a much better job of warming you up, I promise. He curls into his bathrobe like a snail, eyeing the rivulets of steam as they dance up from his cup. You don't even have to talk if you can right now. If you want something, I can get some paper and you can write it down for me. I'm here for you if you need me, Olive. If you want me to be, that is. They say you need to whistle to a snail in order to get it to come out of its shell. Olive's not like that, though. The only way for me to know what he wants is to ask him directly. Some days it's company, some days it's solitude. But the days he would come out to me on his own were always the most exciting. But he'd come on over, unannounced, just to see what I was working on, or to read me one of his new poems. Those were the days he seemed truly comfortable with the world, like he never even had a shell to begin with. Those were the days when nothing was expected from either of us. It was a rare feeling, a lovely feeling. But if the day isn't one of those days, then so be it. I'll be as patient as I have to be. What day is it? The day? Oh no. It's fine. It's fine. He's just trying to orientate himself after a bad dream. Don't panic. It's August 13th. August 13th. Is that... It sounds like it's the same, right? I don't remember now. I feel like it's just been so long. We've been through so many trips, like... It's been through so many acid trips, so I've lost, like, what day we're supposed to be in this game. Anyway. Why? Are you worried that you missed your train? Is that what this is all about? My train? He goes quiet again and starts playing with the fabric of his robe. When was the last time we talked to each other? When? I don't know the exact time, but it was right before you went to bed. I asked you what you wanted for breakfast, but you told me not to worry about it. Then I think you took some melatonin and went to sleep. Why is he asking me this? Did something happen before he went to bed? Is that why he woke up sick? His left hand slides away from his lap and grips the cup of tea I poured for him. He pulls the drink to his face and stares at it, dividing for something well beyond my understanding with those strong, dismantling eyes of his. Hey, Judith, do you mind taking a sip of this for me? Sure. I guess I can do that. Are you worried it's too hot? I can put some ice cubes in there if that's something you're worried about. No, I only need you to take a sip. A couple of sips, actually, if you don't mind. I take the cup as he offers it to me, It's ceramic. I never know how to pronounce this word. uh, ceramic frame pulses in my hand, the crisp, spicy scent of ginger highlighting the otherwise somber air. As I move it to my lips, Oliver scans my face and furrows his brow. I take a few tentative sips. Oh, steamy. And then a few more, if only to be thorough. I look over at my friend, his face besieged by confusion. So, because it's a medicinal tea, it's probably not as sweet as the kinds they're used to me making. I could add some sugar, but I feel like this is the kind of blend that works best if it goes down naturally. I place the cup back on the coffee table. You don't have to drink it if you don't want to, though. Do you need some water instead? Or maybe a salt bath? He doesn't respond, but instead reaches for the tea and takes a few sips of his own. Okay, so what happened before when she supposedly drugged us, and then we ended up, we ended up having a lap pillow, I guess. Which is ironic because we gave her a lap pillow in the dream, but anyway. So that seems like it didn't happen? Man, how unreliable is this narrative of ours, Is Oliver, has he just been an unreliable narrator this entire time? Or is it Judith the one that's being unreliable? I don't know. Guess we'll see. But yeah, he takes a few sips of his own. You didn't add anything then? No spoonfuls of honey or spoonfuls of other stuff? Not yet, no. Olive, what's this about? I don't care if it's embarrassing or scary. I won't judge you. You're safe here. You'll always be safe here. So please, talk to me. Oliver slides the tea back onto the table and begins scratching the back of his head. I don't know, but I felt really scared drinking that for some reason. Like something really bad was going to happen to me if I finished it. Okay, I understand. I'll go pour it out and get you some water then. No, it's okay. I don't want anything to drink. It's fine. He recoils away from me, his normally loving voice cracked and his eyes panicked. Are you having trouble keeping liquid down then? Do you need to go to hospital maybe? No, I don't feel sick. You don't? No, I'm just anxious, I think. Could it be pre-college jitters then? Maybe you had a nightmare about showing up to your first lecture naked or something. Most people don't remember their dreams completely after they wake up, so that would make sense, right? Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people have dreams related to school and stuff, right? For me, definitely a reoccurring dream for me is that I'm always late, like I'm always late for like a class or something. I try to get there, it's taking so long. It's like literally the night has already darkened. It's nighttime. I'm still trying to get there, even though I'm completely late. It's like the next day and I'm still late, no matter what, I can't get to class. Then at some point I remember that I'm not a student anymore, I don't go to class anymore. And then I wake up, but it's just very, I don't know, I always have that dream of being late to class. Yeah, I didn't remember putting anything up. College? Oliver jolts up. Oh shit, it's the 13th. I'm supposed to be in Orlando right now. Judy, I'm gonna miss my flight. Your flight? Yeah, quick, give me your phone. I've gotta call Violet. Her and Miss Lawrence were supposed to car me over to the hotel last night. Violet? Oh, wow. Oh, wow, Oliver. I know, but it's fine. I'm almost positive my flight's in the afternoon. If we leave now, I should be able to swing by their place and say goodbye to her. I know it's a pain, but do you mind driving me over? I throw my arms around Olive and start rubbing the back of his head. Given my track record with him these past 3 months, this proximity is assuredly more of a comfort to me than anyone else. But I don't care right now. This is going to be hard either way. Might as well embrace it. I see. So that's what's going on. You didn't have a nightmare at all, did you? You had a dream. A really, really lovely dream. Damn it. I'm crying right now. I'm sorry, Olive. I'm sorry I couldn't make your last day here a happy one. Judy, what are you talking about? Judy, I only came over to say goodbye to you. And now I've got to go say goodbye to Violet. So can we... I feel something wet run down the side of his soft, cold face. Can we go do that, please? Oliver. I pull away and force myself to look into his eyes. Oliver, Violet's dead. Okay. Kablam. This is like, alright. And that's what I was wondering. Someone's gotta be dead. And I guess Violet's dead. I mean, how does Oliver take these news? Take the news. She had a seizure back when we were rehearsing for graduation. She was watching a rocket. They say the light from it set something off in her head. We were all lined up by last name. None of us were close enough to her, and she hit her head on the pavement. Nobody around her knew what was happening, and she hit her head on the pavement. We spoke at her funeral. She doesn't live here anymore. It's just us. We're all that's left. We're all that's left. I know. Of course I know. It's just... I just wanted some more time with everyone. Oliver flings his legs over the front side of the couch and stands up. Do you mind if I show you what I've been working on? I think it'd be easier that way, for both of us. Okay. He crouches down next to Andy's bed and fishes something out from under it. It's a journal, a purple one with a green lacy bookmark sticking out of the bottom. You knew that Emil and I were supposed to write a book together over the summer, right? I remember him mentioning it a few times. Well, he was really adamant about making it happen. He spent a bunch of his free time last semester world building for it. He sent me notes, lots of them. By the end of March, I had 9 journals full of nothing but his ideas. It's so many that I half expected them to be falling out of the trees on my way home from school or wedged in the cracks of the sidewalk. He said that working on fiction would be a good change of pace for me. Said that collaborating with someone else could be useful for him as well. I think he knew that I only really wrote poetry to try and understand how other people felt. He called it utilitarian soulless work. Yep, that sounds like Emil. He meant well, though. I guess the idea was that working on something goofy together would light me up a bit. I think, in his own way, he was trying to help me out, to help me see the value in fiction. But then Violet died, and everybody dispersed, like geese in flight. I didn't understand it at first, why we were the only ones that stayed in town. Ash, Andy, hell, even Emil. I thought they were abandoning her memory. I thought they were being selfish. So I didn't say goodbye to them either. But they were her friends too. Maybe I'm the only one who had this town polluted by her death. That's why I stayed here all summer. I didn't want to see all those places littered with tourists and snowbirds. I didn't want to see Siren's Call pretending to be alive and colorful when it wasn't anymore. The beach, Flagler, the school, I don't think I could have handled any of it. It wasn't what I was used to. It wasn't what I knew. It was inconsistent. Everything was inconsistent. Maybe none of them could handle it either. But after Violet's funeral, I couldn't put any of that into words. Not really. Other than you, there was no one left to write for. No souls for my soulless work. I didn't want to burden you more than I already had by staying here, so even though I'd be doing it alone, I got started in the book. He sits down on Annie's bed and offers me the journal, avoiding my eyes in the process. I won't look down on you for what you've written if that's what you're worried about. It's not. I take the journal and sit what I assume is a safe distance away from him on the bed. It's a sizable It's a sizable book, and yet every page I see is packed with words. There's so much of it. What can I say? Your room was the ideal work environment. Unlike my parents' house, I never had to worry about you trying to shove me out the door so I could have a life. You let me be, and so I was able to work in peace. So thank you for that. Oh, you don't need to thank me. I just figured since we had a spare bed now, I might as well. Spending summer with your parents after all this wouldn't make sense. That's not all it was, Judy. You're not like him or the others. Even though she died, Siren's call is still beautiful to you somehow. You just want to sleep in the same room with him. You want to hear his soft, gentle breath as he fell asleep. You wanted to be there, lying in wait for something that would never actually happen. So you enabled him. You locked him away in his room for an entire summer. You took advantage of his crestfallen state for one last chance to bleed him dry. It's good he's leaving today. Because at this point, I'm nothing but a leech, a fucking parasite. Okay. I continue thumbing through the journal. I'll save you some time. The characters find a locker in the high school that leads to their town's collective unconscious. Okay, so that confirms it. It's all just freaking made up. You know, he made like a knockoff Persona story, like a knockoff Persona fanfiction starring his OCs, which are inspired by his real friends. Anyway, most of the book is them exploring that place, killing whatever they don't like, and curing the minds of the people who live back above as a result. I didn't want to think like I normally did when I'm writing it. I wanted to be like Violet whenever she paints. I wanted to give myself to the work. But I had a deadline. I had to get this done before the summer was over, just like how Emil and I planned. I didn't have the time to be meticulous or thoughtful, so I just went for it. Much like the characters in the story, I never really had to think. It was so unlike writing poetry. It was exhilarating. How does it end? Well, that's the problem. Olive grabs his backpack and empties it out on the bed. Or, yeah, that's you just saying this technically. 3 more journals of equally impressive size slide out onto the blankets. Those are my attempts at editing this. Don't bother looking through them, they're all garbage. Sure, some make sense in context, but none of them are honest. Nobody's wrong, nobody gets punished. Nobody of note dies. These kids fuck around, change the people in this town forever, and nothing happens to them. There aren't any consequences. It's just not real. It's not what Violet went through. None of it is. After about 3 weeks of writing different variations of what was essentially the same ending, I started asking myself if this was really the kind of story I wanted to tell. But of course this is what I wanted. What other story could be born of someone so powerless to change anything in their own damn life? Even if that was what I wanted to write, though, it wasn't what I needed. If I wanted to keep living, I needed to know how I felt. If you wanted to keep living. Oliver leans over to his pillow and pulls another journal out from under it. So I try one last time to end this properly. Olive, what is that? A strange mixture of concern and rage blends with my words. He just places the journal on my lap and looks away from me. That's my personal journal. There's some notes from Emil about the book and stuff, but I mostly use it to try and collect my thoughts. My last entry was page 65. Read it, please. I feel my heart shiver a little on that last word of his. This dread, this familiar dryness in my mouth. The same way I felt when I saw what happened to Violet. Am I about to have this happen a second time? Whoop, woo. Okay. August 12th. I hate this town. A few miles south of us at that cape. Men and women better than I'll ever be start riding rockets into space. Space. Quite literally the deadliest environment imaginable, was still more enticing than anything Florida had to offer. They shot themselves into the hungry, thoughtless sky, if only the thin string of human genius to guide them to their destination. But for me, there is never any hope of reaching escape velocity. The familiar rumble of empty fuel tanks slamming into the ocean, the amber glow of jet fuel burning against the violent pink of a perfect tropical sky, I grew to hate all of it. Every launch grounded me more and more into the fetid Florida muck. Because all I could do in this town was watch better people leave, as being autistic makes you more like rocket fuel than an actual rocket. If you do well, if you pass as their hero, then yeah, parents and scholars might talk about how bright you can burn. You might be able to humor them, crack some jokes, make some friends, specialize in something that can be flipped into a career. Well, that's what they always say. It's kind of like a stereotype, anyway. But at the end of the day, you only exist to make them look good, to validate the efficiency of their social programs and assimilation techniques. The best you can hope for is to shoot someone better than you into the sky and fall back down to the cold, heartless ocean where you belong. But I couldn't even do that right. And you can't even do that. But then you're defective. You're volatile. You're as dumb as rocket fuel. But even rocket fuel has a purpose. It just needs to do as it's told. So down I go. Well, like, pessimistic, but I want to say I can't believe what I just read. But nothing about this surprises me. Oliver, I want you to tell me what this is. I need to hear it from you, from your mouth. It's how I felt before going to bed last night. And a contingency plan, in case I didn't wake up. Oh, is that what happened? He tried to... So that, even if I couldn't finish the book, there'd be some sort of ending to all of this. Why the hell wouldn't you wake up? I didn't take melatonin, Judith. Not anymore. It gives me nightmares. My mom's recommended plenty of things in the past to help me shut my brain off. So I went to Miss Lawrence, said I was picking up some of the usual stuff for her, and gave myself a little nap. That doesn't answer my question. Why wouldn't you have woken up, Oliver? I didn't know what care was going to happen after I took it. So I covered my bases by scribbling up that last journal entry, I guess. I figured it was my last chance to find out how I really felt about all this. Okay. So he took, that's why he said, to trust the chemicals. I can feel the bubble in my voice begin to pop as I push these next words to my throat. Why didn't you tell me you felt this way? Why didn't you tell me you were depressed? I'm not depressed. I'm not. I'm not crazy. I'm not. 12/16. The one after the Magna Carta. No, I don't think I am. Were you trying to kill yourself, yes or no? I didn't try to do anything. I already told you I didn't care what was going to happen. How could I care? There's nothing I can offer you anymore that makes me worth having around. I failed Violet. I failed finishing that shitty book of mine, and now I'm failing you. You want to know a secret? On that form you gave us back in March, I voted to have our rehearsal at the school. Interesting. Yeah, we saw that a few times before as well. Some prompts, about like the graduation ceremony. When you posted the results in the auditorium, it said they were only one vote away from having it at the beach instead. One vote. That's all it would have taken. If I'd gone to the beach, there would have been nothing hard for Violet to hit her head on. Should have been thinking about her when I made that choice. I should have been thinking about keeping her safe. But I wasn't thinking, and now she's stuck here forever. Couldn't even do the one thing I was supposed to from the start. I couldn't lift her up. So what good am I? There's clearly nothing valuable left for me. If I woke up, then whatever. It's not like I was expecting any of my parents' bullshit to actually work. This body of mine was nothing worth caring about in the first place. Now we're here, and you're crying again. I don't know why. I've made you waste so much time on me. I even took away your last summer vacation just because I didn't want to be alone again. You did so much to try and make me happy. I can only imagine the kind of life you would have had if you never met me. So I need to leave. I didn't make sure I didn't take from you any more than I already have. It doesn't matter how I do that. It doesn't matter if I live or die. All that matters is that I don't let my selfish choices steal away anyone's future ever again. Is that really something worth being upset about? This is really happening then. I thought it was all in my head. And even then, I thought he was only sad because he missed Violet. I didn't know it ran this deep. I didn't know he blamed himself. No, maybe I did. Maybe all of this was just me tricking myself into thinking a little space was all he needed. Maybe I thought I could make this better for him somehow. But I'm powerless. I can't do anything to make him see what I see. I can't fight this. I know I can't fight this. Even so, I wiped the tears from my eyes. Can I show you something, Oliver? Something that might make you feel a little bit better. After I do, you never have to talk to me again if you don't want to. Why even bother? I'm not worth your time. I've never been worth your time. I just want you to understand me. I want you to understand what I think about all this. I want us to understand each other. It's the only way I'm going to be satisfied with myself in the end. So let me show you something I'm not supposed to show you. My secret anime figurine collection. No, I move over to my desk and open the bottom left drawer, the place where I practice keeping all my miscellaneous copies and whippy tax forms. He was practicing doing taxes. Amazing. It was a yellow folder, I'm sure of it. There it is. I know depression isn't logical. Nothing about this is logical. But that doesn't mean I should give up on showing him what's real. I can't force you to find any meaning in this. But those forms you mentioned, the ones from the student council, I didn't trust anybody else with a job that big, so I placed it upon myself to tally all the votes. There are a lot though, so I ended up taking the bulk of them home so I could finish up at my leisure. The votes were supposed to be completely anonymous, unless you had any dietary restrictions you wanted the council to know about. If that were the case, then you could sign your name at the bottom and request a specific kind of meal for yourself, instead of just voting for subs or pizza. So what? So, Violet was a vegetarian. I pulled a sheet of paper out from the back of the folder and handed it to Oliver. Here's how she voted. If you want to blame yourself for her death, then I can't stop you from thinking that way. But I don't think that's reality. He grabs the form and starts scanning it. She voted to have it at school. She voted just like I did. It's because she hated the beach, Oliver. Of course she voted that way. I mean, yeah, that's what she said. You're right. The location for graduation was ultimately decided by one vote. So, going by your logic, every student that voted the same way you did is equally responsible, including Violet herself. It's not true. It can't be true. It's not Violet's fault. Of course it's not. Nobody planned for that to happen to her. I understand wanting someone to blame for all of this, but that's not how the world works. Sometimes there's no one to blame. Sometimes life is just chaotic and inconsistent and cold. But you're still warm. You still have control. You get to decide what details have meaning, which are just frivolous specks of chronometric dust. Chronometric. And so do I, which is why you don't get to decide if you're important to me or not. I love you so much, Oliver. You don't get to say that I shouldn't. I get to choose what matters to me, and so do you. I'm not trying to get you to think the way I do, but I at least want you to know how I feel. To me, you're not some selfish monster. You're not powerless either. You won't ever be worthless. There's no such thing as a worthless human being. Oliver looks down the bottom of the form. That's her handwriting. She asks if she could eat black bean burgers instead of pizza. She asks if she could make some and bring them to the event. What a dork. What a frickin' dork. He places the form behind him on the bed. How did you vote then? I'm curious. I voted for the beach. I wanted to go swimming afterwards, for old time's sake. Is that the truth? It is. Did you hate her then? What? Did you hate Violet? I'm leaving either way, so you might as well be real with me, right? No, I couldn't hate her. Not after seeing how happy the two of you were. I just want the people I love to be happy. That's all. I thought giving you some space would help with that. But I guess that's just another thing I don't have any control over. Oliver scoots a bit closer to me before lifting himself off the bed. Well, it's not your fault either, right? He walks over to Andy's desk and grabs a small white bottle. Can I ask you one last thing then? Something I need you to be honest about. Of course. But I get one more question too, same rules. Is that okay with you? That's only fair, I guess. He falls backwards in the bed and stares up at the ceiling. So, when you said that you love me just now, I can feel my skin begin to shiver. It means what you think it means, yes. But does that mean you need me? Or does that mean you need me? That's all I want to know. But don't worry about trying to make me happy. Whatever I end up feeling is ultimately my responsibility. Just please, be honest. I promise I'll be honest with you. I don't know what to say here. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't be able to tell if I was lying, but that doesn't matter. Because I don't know what kind of answer will actually make him happy. In that case, I only have one choice. No, I don't need you. In the grand scheme of things, I don't need you to stay here with me. Is that really so awful? Think of all the things in your life that you actually need. Boring water, boring food, boring medicine. The boring, oppressive sun that you can't even admire without burning your eyes into blindness. You might need those things to keep breathing, but that doesn't mean they make you feel alive. Is that what you really want to be, Oliver? Because to me, you're more like the moon. Something beautiful I want to look at every night before I go to bed. You have phases, you're consistently inconsistent. You're radiant. I don't need you, but that doesn't mean I don't want you. I really, really want you. Isn't that just better? I open my eyes and realize my skin is burning in embarrassment. Even so, I keep my face locked on his, if only for him to see that this is really, truly how I feel. You're right, Judy. You're right. It is better that way. So you don't need me then. Good. That's good. Now two of us are free to, well, now we're free. Not so fast. Now's your turn to be so embarrassed that your skin feels like it's melting off your body and become a skeleton. Of course. I'll honor our agreement. Ask away. Do you feel the same way? I know it's been an awful morning, but you don't have a phone. Once you leave town, that might be it for me. I might never know for sure what was real for us and what wasn't. So, do you love me, Oliver? Don't worry about trying to make me happy. Whatever I end up feeling is ultimately my burden. Please, just be honest. It's hard to ignore how the joy in his face just melted away as I asked him that. You're gonna have to forgive me, Judith. Oh no. I had a really bad night. I'm not exactly in the most romantic mood right now. So, I can't promise that I'll be able to put any of this as pleasantly as you did. But maybe I can make up for that by not holding anything back. I am insanely attracted to you, Judith. I've always thought you were cute, but as we both got older, things started getting weird. Embarrassingly weird. I don't want to get too into it, but it's like I woke up one day and suddenly all the things we used to do together were completely recontextualized. So that basically ruined any chances I've ever had of viewing you platonically. You're a genius, not just with school stuff, but with people too. You can win anybody over. You're amazing at anything I suck at. You know, I feel like, because we changed perspective, by the way, it just feels like a Otome game now. Anyway. And we've always been like that, consistently. You know how to survive. You know how to keep on burning. You're everything I could ever hope to be. And that scares me. You scare me. It scares me that I'm still attracted to you after everything that's happened this summer. It scares me that a relationship with you feels inevitable. I'm scared of how little I can offer when placed next to you. I'm scared that sometimes when I look at you, all I can see is everything I lack. I'm scared that I might be in love with someone that I'm only ever able to take from. Like I'll only be able to shine if I keep borrowing your light. I'd be lying if I said I didn't think romantically about you, but when I think about being romantic with you, I feel helpless. Maybe I won't feel like that forever, but right now, I don't think that's what I need. Maybe that's why I'm so relieved you don't need me. You're right. When you need something, it's an unmovable part of your life. It's inevitable. But maybe we're not like that for each other after all. Maybe this is something we can end up choosing for ourselves. I can't promise you anything right now, though. I'm sorry. I love you, but you don't need me. But you don't need me. That's what you do. All tension leaves my body as I breathe out for what feels like the first time since Oliver started confessing. Okay. Okay. More than okay. If you want time, then that's nothing. You give me so much just by being alive, so it's only fair. More than a few dirty dreams of my own. What? But he doesn't need to know that. Not yet, anyway. Just by being alive. He eyes a small white bottle in his hand. Do you mind I flush these down your toilet? Can you do that? Are you allowed to do that? Is that illegal? I'm not so sure I want to be caught carrying psychedelics onto a train. Don't need to risk getting my parents a satisfaction either, you know. Psychedelics? That we took last night? If so, that seems a little off. I can dump that up. Don't worry, you do what you need to do. It's weird. I thought you'd try harder to keep me here after I told you all that. I thought you'd call the cops or an ambulance or something. I thought you'd be more scared. I never said I wasn't. I'd be stupid not to be scared. You still don't have a phone, so once you leave, that might be it. There's almost nothing I can do to help you anymore. Love or not, things are going to end up this way. Why just get him a phone? You know, it's like, I guess he doesn't want a phone. He tosses me the bottle and begins walking toward the door. Out of curiosity, I pop open the lid and take a look inside. Wait, what? Oliver, where'd you get this from again? He pauses at the door and looks my way. I got it from Miss Lawrence. She sells this stuff to my folks, apparently. I got it from her last night. The front of the bottle says to take one before you go to bed. So I took two, just to be thorough. Nothing about this adds up. And the texture of these pills seem oddly familiar. Hey, Olive, can I borrow you for a bit? There's something I want to confirm. Feeling a weird, optimistic burning in my gut, I take Oliver over to my workstation and flick on one of my microscopes. I open the top right drawer of my dresser and crack open my own personal bottle of melatonin. Give me a few minutes to prepare these slides. Oh, actually, could you give me the mortar and pestle in the kitchen? I need to tritulate, I don't say that word. I need to tritulate the samples. Okay. Okay, well, I think I know where this is going. And I guess Judith, she was into science, right? So that's why she has a little kit here, conveniently. Oliver runs out of the room. I slide on my lab coat. I become a mad scientist. Now, if my hypothesis is correct, that means I had you pegged all wrong, Judy Louise Lawrence. You've got more violet in you than I thought. It takes about 20 minutes for me to compare the samples. I knew it. I knew it. I don't know if this is due to relief or sheer absurdity, but I started laughing. What? What's so funny? Oliver, this is melatonin. Miss Lawrence didn't give you psychedelics. She gave you a freaking sleep aid. What? No, she didn't. I mean, are you sure? Here, take a look yourself. I have Olive look through the microscope on his own a few times for good measure. As you can see, your sample matches the control perfectly. Its solubility in the water is identical as well. Down to the core, they're both melatonin. That doesn't make any sense. I woke up feeling like shit. That's how I was. Well, melatonin does give you nightmares, so... You've woken up like that before, though, right? Aren't intestinal problems common for people with autism anyway? That's more for children, I think. Even so, it's possible their experiences were escalated by a placebo effect of sorts. If you thought you drugged yourself, then it stands to reason everything was way worse inside your head than it could have been in reality. I don't know what you dreamed about last night, but it was bad enough to make you wake up vomiting. Then it must have been a horrifying caricature of your actual life. It wasn't real then? No, it wasn't. It was a dream. There's no way it could have been. But that doesn't mean that what you felt during it wasn't real. So you should give yourself that at the very least. Is this it? Am I finally breaking through to him? So basically, I was manipulated. Great. Oliver slides away from me and begins moving stuff into his luggage. And that means there's only one person left for me to say goodbye to. Can you stop by Vi's place on the way over to the train station? I need a second opinion before I leave. I need to hear her say it. You still want to go to college then? I might as well be. I need to get good enough at writing fiction to finish the story anyway. College seems like a pretty decent way to make that happen. But also to, accumulate much student debt. Not only that, but Violet didn't get to go. She didn't get to leave. So, yeah. I see. So this is really it then. He flings his backpack over his shoulder and looks around my room. Well, thank you for letting me stay here, Judith. I know this isn't exactly a great ending to our endless summer, but I'm glad I got to spend it with you. I'll try and find a way to make all this up to you, okay? All I want is to get you where you need to be. I don't want anything else. This is enough. You being alive is enough. He frowns, moving past me on his way out the door. That's basically a lie, isn't it? He exits my room, flicking off the lights before I'm able to follow him out. Alright. I park in front of Vi's old house and hop out of the car. Should I come in with you? That'd be nice, yeah. Miss Lawrence sold the house last week, so I'm pretty sure she's still leaving for Denver. Plus, I'll be real, I have zero idea how this is going to turn out. But I always feel safer when you're around, Cam. Oh, don't call me that, Oliver. We're adults now. We're not out playing behind the church anymore. Well, doesn't change the fact I always feel better having you on my team. Because a captain protects her crew, right? It's what I'm best at. I bet that gets hard after a while. It's easier than you think it'd be, Olive. Here, I'll show you. Knock knock. There she is, Big Mama herself. Big Mama herself. Children, what a surprise. Today's the day, right? There's something you need before you go? Can we come in for a bit? There's stuff I gotta talk with you about, if that's okay. Of course. There's something I need to give you anyway, but... She looks over to me, clearly irritated. It's fine, we won't mind the mess. It's just been so long since I had you kids over. It might not be like you remember. I've had time, I'm sure I can handle it. Ah, right. Of course you can. What was I thinking? Very well then, do as you wish. She moves away from the door and motions us inward. Oh wow. She wasn't kidding. This is... The girl's so used to Violet's gigantic messy easel being the first thing I see when I come here. The house is spotless. There's nothing left of her here. She's really gone then, isn't she? I collapse into a nearby couch, my left arm scraping against a small pile of cardboard boxes as I do. It's so different with her art everywhere, I know. No, it's fine. You don't have to worry about acting all stoic, darling. It's tough. There's no good in pretending otherwise. Now then, what can I help you with, college boy? There's some stuff I have to ask you before heading out for good. Is this about Violet? In a way, yeah. Do you have a minute? For you, my star people, yes, I have a minute. Do you mind if we talk in private then? I don't mind, but does she? Miss Lawrence looks at me with a hard, unwavering gaze. I'm fine waiting out here, don't mind me. Naturally. She slithers away from Oliver and makes her way toward the back of the house into her bedroom. Don't worry, I won't be long. Don't you dare let her talk down to you. I meant what I said before, this wasn't your fault, none of it was. Well, it never hurts to get a second opinion. Oliver. I'll be fine. I should have talked with her about this stuff at the funeral. I should have talked with her as soon as I had the chance to. I'm done delaying the inevitable. I need to be. And with that, he leaves, following the cougar into her den. Calling her a cougar, though, it's kind of into like her bedroom. It's kind of weird. Anyway, don't let her rip into you, Oliver. Come back to me, one piece. The one piece. The one piece is real. I hear the door of the bedroom swing open. I wasn't able to hear anything they were discussing, so I tried myself to glean something from their expressions. They both seem oddly calm. Sorry about the wait. I think we're good now, though, right? We did... I don't know, I was gonna say a wrestling match, but that also has like weird implications. Anyway, I'm fine if you are. Unless you're heading off to go hash things out with Dolly and your father. In which case, I may have one or two things I could run by you, just to be safe. But no, I think I'm all good there. They have my mailing address and stuff, but I make sure that's all they have. I've got nothing I need to say to them anyway. Oh good, there's no shame in avoiding pointless battles. And besides, you're a free man now. You don't have to do things their way anymore. Now then. Miss Lawrence leans in and gives Oliver a firm-looking yet brief hug. Take care out there in the real world, Oliver. Next time, don't be such a stranger, okay? Okay, I'm sorry. But don't be, just trust yourself and do your best, that's all I ask. Goodbye now, and good luck. Oliver smiles, giving Miss Lawrence one of his signature thumbs up before sauntering out the door. I'm left alone with her, still unsure what to make of all that. You two sure have quite the chemistry together. But nothing will ever come of that if you don't allow yourselves to mix. Were you the one who figured it out? It's not like it was hard. Seriously, melatonin, why would we trick him like that? Do you have any idea what you put him through? Well, I promise what he went through last night was safer than whatever his plan B was. You knew then? The boy's not exactly discreet. If you pay attention, it's plenty easy to tell what he's feeling. He's so much like my Violet in that way. You're a monster. Well, calm down, princess. We're on the same team here. You should have called someone to help as soon as you knew something was wrong. Is that what you did? Well, no, but stop talking like you have any idea how to handle this. Maybe you got lucky with him today, but we all know how much that boy hates attention. And I found these sort of things require some level of delicacy, otherwise you only risk escalating the situation. That's why you handled it the way you did. Even a rookie like you know there's no one-size-fits-all solution to dealing with someone in his state. A rookie? You're in love with him, right? Even if it's only to satisfy your own curiosity, you'll be a top-notch specialist by your late 20s, guaranteed. Make no mistake, though, the day you got lucky. Sure, calling in a loving family member is a right move a non-0% of the time. But what happens when there aren't any of those at home? What happens when home is just another meat grinder? That's where people like us come in. We help these kids reach escape velocity while the rest of the world is trying to blast them out of the sky. Because after years on the job and enough suicides, they begin to realize how vital it is to look at these things contextually. Contacting his deadbeat parents would have done fuck all. Oh, you mean those same parents they sell drugs to? Dolly's my only client in that family, princess. When it comes to being completely out of touch with reality, Oliver Sr. doesn't exactly need the help, you know. That doesn't make you any less of a monster. I had to fill up my girl's college fund somehow. Heaven knows working for the school alone wasn't going to do it. Besides, this is Florida, darling. Half the people over 40 already struggled or something. If Dolly wants to be wasting away again in Siren's call, then that's her prerogative. But Oliver's still breathing. That's all that matters to me. So thank you for not messing that up. What are you going to do now, though? What do you mean? I'm going to drive him to the train station. And then he's going to get on the train to Asheville. That's all. God, you're so young. Do you want some free advice, kid? If I say no, does that mean I can leave? If you're waiting for some romantic scene at the train station to change your life forever, you're going to be disappointed. That boy is no square-jawed hero from the 1920s. He's Oliver. So, you being the lady in the situation doesn't mean shit. If you want someone to stay in your life, neurodivergent or otherwise, you have to respect what makes them different. That's why my girl Violet struck first and won, and that's why Oliver did his best to keep her alive. If you can't acknowledge the reality of who you're dealing with, nothing will ever change for you. I'll let you go like an old balloon, and that's what you keep treating yourself like. Because he trusted you to be honest with him, just like he trusted me. That's what makes him a good kid. So don't be like me. Don't take advantage of that trust. Go on, you're making him wait. She begins flicking her right hand toward the door. I can't ignore the sheep-eating grin. No, shit-eating grin on her face, nor the obnoxious weight of her advice. I'll go do that then. Goodbye, I guess. No guesses. You have my blessing. Don't go wasting it. Okay. I mean, again, it was mentioned before how, like, Miss Lawrence was like a sort of quote-unquote villain, but I just kind of don't see that. I mean, the only illegal thing she does is, like, she's a drug dealer, but I guess that's just glossed over, I guess. I don't know. I start the car in the front of Violet's house one last time. This is it, isn't it? Goodbye, Violet. Thank you. I look over at Oliver. You ready to get out of here? Not even remotely. But sure, let's go. Any other stops we need to make? Anything else you need to tell me before I take you there? Only that this didn't go nearly as bad as I thought it would. In my head, it was way worse. She blamed me more, she hated me more. Everybody did. Guess that's why it's good to get a second opinion. Or maybe even a third, fourth, and fifth opinion. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got to say. We can go now. I see. Close my eyes and grip the sides of the steering wheel. In that case, there's one more thing I need to ask you. My phone starts buzzing. Hold that thought, okay? I reach down and pull out my phone. Yep, one new message. But this is no way. You know, Judy, if you're having trouble saying what you're thinking, this message is from Via's phone. Okay. You can always just write it down for me. Yes, very smug. With my new phone that I stole from my dead girlfriend. Anyway. Phones don't last very long, but you gotta get, you know, I wonder how old that phone is. Anyway. You acquired Oliver's phone number. Is that it? Is that the game? He finally got a phone. You know, that's the moral of the story. It's all about Oliver getting a cell phone. That's all it was. But no, okay, there you go. I think that's it. I don't know. I think the game is pretty linear, so I don't know. Like, it's not like a typical visual novel where you can get like a different ending or anything like that. So I think that's basically it. So the twist is, of course, is that Violet died or is dead the entire time, and you know, everything that kind of happened for most of the game was just a bad dream, which in a way is kind of a cop-out, to be honest, but I don't know. I do felt like it kind of dragged on a little bit too much near the end, though, ironically. I mean, not ironically, but rather, you know, the entire game itself was kind of like slow pacing, I feel like, in general. But like, I feel like I did get a little sappy there at the end, you know? Everything has to wrap itself in a neat little bow, and, you know, things like that. I kind of, personally, I kind of don't like that kind of ending, but whatever, that's fine. Also, no NFT, don't make NFTs. In general, you know? Anyway. Alright. Anything else? Whole story? In the end, I drove him into the train station like I said I was going to. He called my sister in the ride over, called Emil and Ash too, made the most of that phone's thin battery life. Ultimately, Miss Lawrence was right. There's no lavish kiss waiting for me on the crowded platform of that train. But he reached out to me. In a way, he reached out to all of us. He didn't just let go, not completely. And I think that's more than enough. Because when I messaged him a few hours later and asked how the campus felt, his response was almost instant. It feels like heaven. Okay. Yeah. All right. Which, you know, in a way, I was thinking how, like, I really did feel like the whole college thing was kind of like a metaphor for heaven, you know? And apparently, Judy herself, you know, was religious, I'm assuming. So, like, all his friends, like, died or whatever in, like, a supernatural world, but I guess that wasn't the case. But there you go. I guess percentage complete 88, so I guess I didn't get 100% necessarily. I guess that's like for... Okay, here you go. I guess category 3, there's something I missed there. Otherwise, I got most of it. Blue skies ahead as well, I missed them. Gallery pictures, journal pages, alone time with Violet. I guess that's all the scenes involving her when you want to talk to her at the beach. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'll go back, because this is a pretty long visual novel, so I don't know if I'll go back and try to collect all those scenes or whatever. I might double check the journal though. If it's a journal, I think I'll you know, I think I'll do that off screen, maybe, you know, unlock the rest of the journal entries and maybe make that its own video, possibly. I'm not sure about that yet. But yeah, I think, you know, I think at least for the playthrough anyway, I think I'll end it here. Maybe, you know, again, I'll check out some extra stuff on my own. I don't know if it's gonna be interesting enough to really show and so on, especially if it's like very fragmented, you know. Anyway, so let me just, you know, let me just say my thoughts about the game that I've played. But yeah, Siren's Call. man, I would definitely say, continue my thoughts during the credits. It's like kind of slow, kind of slow, especially near the end there. I didn't love it. Kind of went on for too long. Again, try to like explain everything, which is like I prefer things to be left a little bit ambiguous and not everything be like again like tied up like a neat little bow. But whatever. But yeah, I mean the story was basically like the whole Siren thing was again made up. It was just based on his little novel that he's writing, so that was just completely made up. The whole sequence of almost the entire game was made like just a dream, and he had that dream within the dream as well. I guess it was pretty interesting, but I don't know. I mean, let me talk about the positives. I mean, for one, the characters were definitely interesting. I like that. I like the initial premise, even though at the end you learn that it's all fake, I guess. But I guess the point is that it doesn't matter if it's fake. It's the journey that counts, not the conclusion, I guess. But I don't know. I did like the premise though. I kind of wish the premise was real. I kind of wish they explored that more. Because it kind of made the visual novel stand out. Is the thing, right? If you kind of like turn around and make it seem like it's not real after all, it kind of feels like you made the game less interesting now. But oh well, or the story anyway less interesting. But for what it was there, it was pretty cool. I think I like the idea that we're kind of deconstructing the RPG genre. I mean, especially like JRPG, Persona genre, or whatever. A bunch of teenagers have magic powers and they beat bad guys, right? Then deconstructing that and everything. That was kind of cool, but like I feel like they didn't do much of that. If nothing else, it's just kind of like it was just symbolic of I guess Oliver's just depression, in general. Because what it really was about, it was about Violet's death, right? And his PTSD after that, right? And his grief after that. And if they're going to do that, I actually wish they used a different metaphor, or maybe not metaphor, but I wish they approached it a little bit differently, where it was, I don't know what the word is, but maybe more obvious, I guess, I don't know. It was more about Violet, Violet dying and all that, and there's more involving that, more Violet, maybe not literally dying, but like, more of her like being present, I guess, in the scenes and everything. I don't know. I mean, I guess she is, because the thing is, most of the scenes is that it's kind of like, most of the time anyway, we don't actually talk to the characters together. We gotta talk to them one-on-one for the most part. There's some exceptions here and there, I guess, but so it feels like, the idea that Violet was the source of this trauma, I feel like they didn't get explored as much, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Anyway. But yeah, but what I want to say is that the characters are interesting though on their own. I do like how the elements, the game kind of are creeping up to you, I guess, if that makes sense. Or I'm saying that wrong. But, the elements of the game where they break the fourth wall and there's like cool like glitch effects or whatever, very much like a certain other game that's very popular and everything. It doesn't break the fourth wall too much though. It's just the game itself doing that. You don't need to like mess with game like computer files or anything. But but I do like that. But anyway, by itself, I think it's pretty cool. The writing is okay for the most part. Again, a little too slow at times. It even lampshaded itself. How like sometimes they say like too much monologuing or too much of the characters making like speeches or whatever. Like they mock that, or not mock, but like they made fun of that. How like that's like too like cheesy or like it's bad writing or whatever. But ironically, this game does do that a few times itself. In fact, I would say it does it like a lot actually. Again, it's not too bad, I would say, because it was broken up by those the horror scenes, basically the times where the game broke the fourth wall and everything, and and those kind of scenes, right? So they kind of broke it up a little bit, which is nice. So that it isn't always just a monologue or isn't just a long drawn out thing, you know, a lot of times. But I do feel like it is pretty slow in the beginning as well as near the end. So I think that's for me. I mean, it's very subjective, I guess. I mean, like longer, definitely like more classic visual novels, you know, are like like 40 hours or something. So much longer, 100 hours, I don't know. So comparatively, it's not that long, but it's just to me, you know, I much prefer something more, you know, neatly packed in, I guess, something tighter. Anyway. Well, in terms of pacing, it's mixed, you know. I like it sometimes, I don't like it other times. Overall, it's okay. But I would say definitely, I could see people like kind of like losing interest, you know, halfway through. I feel like, you know, if people, especially if you don't give it a chance, you know, they might like not at all, you know. And especially visual novels in general are kind of niche already, so you gotta have something, you know, to draw people in. I feel like if you're too slow on that, you know, it's kind of like you're not gonna get your hooks on them, you know. But anyway, what else? I mean, the imagery is fine, the visuals are okay. I feel like sometimes the character design is sometimes inconsistent. Is it just me? Maybe I'm just weird. I actually like these designs a little bit better. Actually. I think these are. I'm assuming these are beta designs, or maybe not. Maybe it's just alternative art, but I actually like the alternative art better, you know, in my opinion. I think the art that they use I think it's okay. Some of the characters do match in terms of their tone or their design, but Oliver, for example, for some reason, kind of like stands out to me as not looking right, you know? I don't know. Are taking their own kind of adult ritual. Whatever that means. Not in that CG, but you know, his sprite anyway, for some reason, just looks weird to me. I'm not sure why. Also, this, I don't know. For me, this also looks slightly weird, but maybe it's just his body. Maybe it's just his pose. You know, it's just like he's trying to look smug. Like, he looks like a dork. But anyway, it's okay. Most of the time, it's okay. It's not like it's bad or anything. I think just sometimes certain angles, you know, make them look kind of weird. But yeah, I mean, anything else? Music is okay. You know, I would say I mean, when there is music, I think it's fine. A lot of time there's actually no music, you know, which is I always found kind of weird. You know, I just wasn't enough music to fill in the kind of like the dead air. You know, I mean, it's okay. Sometimes you can like not have music to like, you know, to emphasize like a particular moment in a scene, right? Just like a movie or whatever. Sometimes you don't need music. You don't have to have music the entire time. But I do feel like in this game, they kind of like, at least to me, from what I felt, like sometimes I feel like there should be music, but there isn't, right? It's just empty silence. So that's what I felt anyway. Sometimes it's a little bit too silent, you know? But maybe that's just me. Yeah. I mean, again, like, I'm just trying to think about the journal as well. Like, it's pretty cool how, like, it does detail, again, the whole Siren thing. I don't know, it's a bit too bad that's fake, though, you know? It's like, I don't know. I felt, I don't know, it doesn't have to be real, I guess. But the way it concluded definitely made me feel the whole thing about, like, oh, it was just a dream. And then you wake up, and it's like, and none of that mattered, you know? That's how I felt, you know? But, you know, a lot of games I do like that do that doesn't always make you feel that, if that makes sense, you know? When it's like the entire game was a dream, that doesn't necessarily mean it wasn't meaningful, right? But this game, I think it trivialized it too much near the end, I think, right? Maybe because everything kind of worked out at the end, it was kind of like a happy-ish ending, so like, that's how I felt anyway. So that's why. But like, I kind of do wish the dream had more of an impact, you know? I mean, just like a lot of games that take place in dreams. I'm just thinking of like, I don't know, Yume Nikki, you know, that in itself is kind of like the original, even though it doesn't have much of like, you know, narrative necessarily. But like, what else? Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass, you know, Amori, Enroll, you know? Those games that I played, by the way, on my channel, you can look for those if you want. Those games take place in dreams, and they have a bulk of their story in those dreams, and they mean something, right? They have like kind of symbolic kind of like connection to reality, which in itself kind of tells a very subtle story of what's happening. Usually like some kind of like trauma, you know, that reveals itself not through words, but through mostly just kind of like symbolism, metaphors, and just visual imagery, right? So I think that was, I don't know. I felt like this game, at least for me, this is like very subjective, but I felt like it ended up a little bit too much on reality. I kind of wish they cut that, you know, a little bit, make it a little bit shorter to leave the conclusion a little bit more ambiguous, in my opinion anyway. And to focus more on kind of like connecting reality with the dreams that Oliver had, right? Because I felt like the whole like going to college thing was too literal, you know? I actually did feel too literal, actually. I really thought like it's going to be a metaphor for something, but no, literally he's going to college. And I'm like, and maybe I'm super biased, you know, because I've already went to college or university, whatever. I feel like it's just no big deal. Who cares? You know, it's just college. Who cares? It's just college, you know? I mean, the only thing you would care about is the student debt, you know? But that's what you should care about. But anyway. But like college itself is like whatever, you know? I mean, it is, you know, I mean, it's a pretty big deal. It's a big step in life, you know? I mean, I definitely had a bit of a hard time, you know, in my first year and everything, and first and second year. Because it's much different from like high school structure, but like it's just kind of like normal. It's kind of mundane. I don't know. I felt like, I mean, especially, I mean, when you think about it, Violet's death, that's much more interesting, you know? Well, I sounds kind of morbid when I say it like that, but you know, the story should definitely be more centered around the trauma around Violet's death, not about going to college, say goodbye to your friends. I don't know. That's just me though. Maybe you feel differently, but like to me, I felt like it kind of focused on the wrong things, you know? Because I don't think those things really matter too much. You know, I don't know. I mean, friends drift apart. College is like whatever. You know, you don't even need to go to college, but anyway, I don't know. I mean, I guess the reason why he wants to go to college, I mean, the real reason, as you learn at the end there, is to, you know, it's to carry on Violet's memory, you know, because she wanted to go to college. I think there was a whole thing about them and their friend group, you know, getting her to college, you know, to do all the makeup assignments or whatever, so we can go to college. It was like a big deal in that sense, I guess, but I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. To me, again, overall, I think this game had a really neat idea. But the thing that I wish basically is to make it a little bit tighter. You know, focus more on the main thing you want to communicate. And I think it was, I think it was like surrounding Violet's death, but I guess also about autism. I guess, you know. I mean, that was okay. I guess maybe, I don't know, if you work, if you're like, if you know somebody who has autism or you have autism yourself, maybe it's more relatable to you, I guess. I don't know. But to me, I don't know, I feel like the whole thing about his mental health, I guess, was you know, kind of a thing, but it wasn't really too important. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I don't know. What I'm trying to say is like basically what I felt was more interesting was when there were more horror elements, basically. I don't know. I just like the parts where it got creepy and disturbing. So I just want more of that, basically, you know? Or maybe not more of that, but like, I guess more punctuated, I guess, you know? So less of like the meandering is like, hey, I gotta say goodbye to my friends, you know? It feels mundane, right? I felt like the more things became deranged, it was definitely when I got most interested, was definitely when the dream was like breaking apart and reality was breaking apart and everything. So I kind of wish they did more of that, you know, basically, you know. I guess that's what it was. I want more of that. I want to focus more on that, and then to its like, I want that to come to its natural conclusion, you know, instead of like things being neatly wrapped up. I wanted some kind of climax. I guess that's what it was. I wanted some kind of climax. I wanted like a final boss fight, you know. I want things to be represented the way things were in the game's language, at least in the dream's language, was fighting a siren, right? So I actually kind of want to explore that world, the underworld. I don't know. Maybe that goes against the whole point of the game, but I actually was interested in the underworld and like the monsters and things like that, right? So I actually wanted, like, you know what would have been cool was that once the dreams start breaking down, you will be able to visit the underworld, and then you would face your anxieties and your fears, at least Oliver's, anxieties and fears, in a much more, direct way in the underworld, right? Where sirens would come back and they would represent, his fears, right? I mean, that's literally Persona, but but it'd be kind of cool, right? And it could deconstruct it a little bit more because it wouldn't be like an RPG. You wouldn't need to, you wouldn't be able to fight these monsters in like an RPG battle. You would need to face them like, I don't know, it's like a person, right? Just like a normal person without any superpowers. And it would like, kind of symbolize his helplessness, right? In his life. And like how he feels powerless and everything, right? That would be kind of cool as well. I don't know. Like, I kind of wish the game, instead of like time looping like a whole bunch, like a few time loops is okay. The dream within the dream is also kind of cool as well. But I kind of wish it kind of had a part, maybe, where, again, he would explore the underworld and then slowly unravel, how like twisted and, wrong everything is in the underworld, because it represents not the town, but rather his life, right? His reality. That'd be kind of cool. That's what I think anyway. But anyway. I'm rambling for far too long. But let me just say, Siren's Call, I think it drags on for a little bit too long, but I think it had a neat idea, For what horror elements, and I say horror, it's not like super scary or anything, but whatever like kind of like creepy and disturbing elements it had, I think it was actually pretty interesting in that sense. And I like how they added those elements in the game and made you feel like, everything was not as it seems, I think that was kind of cool. But again, the game kind of dragged on a little bit too long on the whole like friend thing, too much mundane stuff basically, too much slice of life. But that's just me. And even so, there's still much more to explore, actually. So maybe if you get the game yourself, or you watch a playthrough, maybe that explores different scenes, maybe you have a different idea of what the game is about. I don't know. And there's also this as well. I think this is also another thing. But I guess we'll see. Maybe I'll do that next time, is what I'll do. There's the finishing touch. I believe that is also an extra little scene, I think. I guess we'll see. I don't know. I don't know for sure. I don't want to click on it yet because I don't know what it does. But yeah, for now though, that'll be my main playthrough of Siren's Call. It was okay. Overall, I did like it. Despite my complaints. So there you go. That'll be it for this visual novel. I guess if you didn't know, I stream these games live on Twitch, so check me out over there if you're interested. I also have other playthroughs and channels, so you can look for those if you want. Thanks for watching. Until next time, see you then.